Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's that time of the week once again when the weekly challenges go ahead and refresh. Now because we are straight off the back of update 1.56, that means as always in typical fashion, the new special event is going to be surrounding one of the new vehicles from the update, as well as some of the new events are starting to leak into the rotation of the weekly challenges. So here we are for the final week of February week number 5. This will end on the 6th of March 2025 at midnight. To kick things off this week, then we have the Red Bull Ring short track with the Sunday Cup Classic. Of course, this is one of the new events to the game with update 1.56. We then head over to Grand Valley Highway 1 for the American Sunday Cup 600 before heading over to Interlagos and Race of the Turbo Sportscars. After that, we have one of the brand new special events. We'll probably see a few more of these themed around the newer cars as we go through the next few weeks. But to kick things off, we have Alsace Village and the Peugeot 205 GTI 1 make. And then, as always, to finish off, we have a bit of a longer event, but it's not too long. That is Trial Mountain Circuit for the World Rally Challenge Group B. Now, in terms of the rewards that are on offer this week, they're not too bad. It's just a quick bunch of credits. So for one event, it's 100k. For 3 events, it's 200k. And for all 5 completed, it's 500k. Overall, a relatively short and easy week. So let's kick things off then with the first event of the week, the Sunday Cup Classic at Red Bull Ring Short Track. Of course, this is the Sunday Cup that is aimed at some of the more retro vehicles in game and definitely some of the slowest vehicles in game, hence the whole reason of this being implemented for the Unimog. And that is exactly what we're going to be using for this event. Now, of course, I did have to upgrade it slightly. Mine's running around about 350 pp. It is still incredibly slow. There's a few vehicles that you might have to watch out for here. However, as a general overview, there's going to be 12 cars in total, 11 AI over a 3-lap sprint. It's going to take you a couple of minutes to get this done. Now, the main cars you're looking out for is the Porsche 356s, whether that's the hardtop or the speedster variant, and of course the Mark 1 Golf GTI. All 3 of those cars are much quicker than pretty much anything else on this grid. So if you get a lucky race like I did here, all of those vehicles will stop towards the back and then get caught up by the likes of the Samba bus and of course the other Unimog that will be racing here. So really the difficulty of this event is going to be decided by how the AI actually spawn in. So again, if you do get the faster ones beginning at the front, then it's going to be much tougher than if they start at the back. Anyway, this should be a relatively easy event. I got tick number 1 of the week there and 37,500 credits with that clean race bonus for first place. And of course, on top of that, we get 100k. Moving on then, event number 2 of the week is the American Sunday Cup 600. This is at Grand Valley Highway 1 Reverse. Now, of course, this is aimed at pretty much any American car around a 600 pp rating. So what this means for you is you basically end up with a grid of kind of new and old American muscle cars, and really that's about it. So my car of choice here would be the Ford GT. Honestly, I've never really used this car that much before in its road form, so it was a bit of a different task for me. Now, although the event is rated at 600 pp, admittedly, a lot of these vehicles are putting out nowhere near that. As you can see, we have the Chevrolet Corvette C1 there that we absolutely blast past. And as for the rest of the classic American muscle cars, again, they don't seem to be really tuned whatsoever, so don't expect those to put up much of a fight. The main cars you really need to keep an eye on here are things such as the Dodge Viper, some of the newer Mustangs if they end up running, or the Camaros. Anything else really isn't going to give you a problem whatsoever. Again, it might just be my game, but I'm pretty sure it's not. The AI in this game really struggles with classic vehicles. They end up just bogging them down constantly. They're super easy to overtake, and they just end up as kind of rolling chicanes, and that's about it. So unfortunately, it's not the most competitive event whatsoever. As you can see here, I'm just kind of waiting for the road to open up so I can blast past here, move into 4th place, and then continue on my way. So again, really, the AI here are probably going to be at perhaps their weakest just due to the cars that they're driving. but again, you might need to watch your back for some of the more modern cars. So I fairly quickly got myself into the top 3 here, and by the time we was crossing the straight onto lap 2, I was already up in the lead, as you can see, just driving past the Challenger and Dodge Viper there, and by the end of the event I was around about 12 seconds up ahead, so really no issues whatsoever. A fairly easy event here. That is tick number 2 of the week. In terms of the payout for this one, again, relatively low, but not as low as what we saw previously, 67,000 credits. So next up for the third event of the week, this is Race of Turbo Sportscars. Now this one takes place at Interlagos, and as always for these events, it's a 700 pp limit. And of course your car, well, it must be turbocharged, kind of makes sense there. So there's a bunch of different cars on offer. Most of your Le Mans grinders will probably work here. My car of choice was the Maserati MC20, a car that I've not used in an absolutely long time. So in terms of the event itself, it's a bit of a bigger grid over a longer period, so 5 laps here, 16 car grid. Now just note again, it's a little bit off in terms of what PP rating some of these cars are running at. Some will run what feels like incredibly high, and others are just insanely slow, so it really is a mixed bag here. Now to begin with, you'll probably notice that you're going to pick cars off very quickly, and it will start slowing down once you get round about the mid pack and they just get more spread out. But with this taking place at Interlagos, it's a very unique design in the fact that you come off 2 very quick sections at both the final part of the track and the beginning of the track into this very kind of tight and twisty middle section. I would recommend, if you're going to build a car for this event, build one that can handle that midsection with absolute precision. The main reason for this is because, like usual, the AI are pretty quick in a straight line, but then tend to drop off massively through that midsection. They just cannot control the cars whatsoever. So if you can make up a lot of time where it's very tight, very twisty, then overall you should be absolutely way ahead come the end of this race. As you can see, I'm on lap 2 here, and I'm already about to make my move into P3, which of course would give me the tick for this week. Up ahead we have a Lancer and a Civic. Eventually we'll get behind the Civic, make our move, and there we go, first place, and we just managed to build up the lead from there. Just slightly backing out of the move before getting a decent run out the corner and absolutely blasting off. And after that, well, it was just plain sailing, upwards of a 23+ second lead as we come up across the line to complete this 5-lap event. That's going to be tick number 3 of the week, which of course means we get a payout and an extra reward on top of it. So my payout for this one, 63,000 credits, really not much whatsoever, but of course we also get our daily driving marathon of a 4-star and the 200k for completing 3 events. So let's move in to event number 4 then. This is the Alsace Village special event for the Peugeot 205 GTI 1 make. Of course this car is brand new with update 1.56, so it makes sense that they'll start appearing in the special event rotation, and it'll probably be on and off like this for the next couple of weeks. Now in more detail, it's a 3-lap sprint race with 10 cars total, of course just aimed around the Peugeot 205. First place will net you 60k, 36k for second, and 24 for third. Of course, your main rival cars are a bunch of different 205 GTIs, some decked out in road liveries and some decked out in rally and race liveries. Car restrictions, BOP, prohibited tuning is off, car use must be a garage car, and car settings are allowed. There are no mechanical damages and no shortcut penalties. And of course, my car of choice here would be the 205, which I gave a bit of a classic tuner livery here. So let's kick things off then with the first special event of update 1.56, of course featuring the 205. Now of course we have 3 laps of this rather long circuit up ahead of us, however that is plenty of time to get through all 10 of the AI, or 9 should I say. There are of course 10 cars in total. Now in terms of these special events, the trouble when you kind of first booting one of these up that's never appeared is trying to find a nice balance between difficulty and actually having fun. Now it's a really weird one once again, because I do find that the back of the grid is running at far less performance than the front of the grid. So you'll probably notice yourself going through some of the more, I guess, stock variants of the 205s before, as you get to the front, you know, they become more race and rally like. So again, there does seem to be a massive difference in kind of the front to the back of the grid. And once again, a little bit like one of the brand new events from update 1.56, which I believe was the 400pp European Sunday Cup, the lead vehicle here does tend to have a habit of absolutely disappearing. So you'll probably work your way through the kind of front of to the front of the grid with relative ease, and then once you get to the front two, they'll probably be way up the road. So it does seem like they're running at a much higher performance level than the rest of the grid. So just bear that in mind, that a stock variant probably won't necessarily win here on the harder difficulties. However, in the end, after 3 laps, I still managed almost a 15-second lead here, and that gives us tick number 4 of the week. And overall, we do get the clean race bonus for 90,000 credits. Not too bad, I'd say. So moving in to the 5th and final event of the week. This is typically the longer one, and once again, it is the longest of the bunch, but not really by much. This is Trial Mountain Circuit for the World Rally Challenge Group B. Of course, aimed at the rally category of cars inside of Gran Turismo 7. Now, in terms of my vehicle of choice here, I chose the Nissan GTR Group B rally car. This car is completely standard. Of course, overall, it was a good enough car to do the job. Now, once again, we do have a relatively small grid. So there's 12 cars in total, 11 AI over a 10-lap race here of Trial Mountain Circuit, and there is tyres and fuel on offer. So my strategy of choice here was to run a racing hard set all the way to the end of the race and keep the car mostly in fuel mix 6. Every now and again I might dip into fuel mix 1, especially on that big long straight with the tunnel. I was losing plenty of time there. As you can see, the RCZ had already overtaken me, and I had to once again get that position back. So it was a bit of a balancing act. I was mainly doing this in the kind of early stages before really settling in to a full fuel mix 6 run. You know, again, we're trying not to pit here because this is one of the day 1 events. So unfortunately, the whole massive chase the rabbit thing is really on show here. Now, in terms of the AI, it's a different mix of strategies. So some vehicles you'll see they'll pit in twice, some might only pit in once, some are on softs, some are on hard, some are on mediums. So it's really a mixed bag. It's so difficult to really predict which car might actually come out on top and which car to really focus on. So for me, this was a kind of slow but safe strategy. And again, the racing hards did hold up enough. I was getting a bit of performance drop really from around about lap 6 to 7, where the car was just starting to feel a little bit different. But overall, in the end, it held out enough that I could just spend the entirety of lap 10 just running in fuel mix 1. I had enough fuel left over, managed to get a nice clear gap to the rest of the field, and in the end was around about 23 seconds ahead come the checkered flag. So you can probably really shake it up here in terms of what strategy you want to go with. Mine was just a safe bet. But anyway, that is tick number 5 of the week. Now the payout incredibly low for this one, 65k for 10 laps, definitely a typical day 1 event. Of course, we then do get a little bit of a boost in the form of 500,000 credits. So with the rewards, we'll start off with our daily driving marathon. This was a 4-star ticket. Now again, typically these do give some pretty terrible rewards. There's some decent ones on offer here, and I'm actually going to end up with the best of the bunch. 500,000 credits for a daily marathon. I really cannot complain at that one. So we're going to add that to the account, and then of course we have the rest of the money to add. 100k for 1 event completed. For 3 events completed, it's 200,000 credits. And of course, finally, for all 5, it's 500,000 credits. So once again, adding all of that to the account. And there we go. That is our first set of weekly challenges for update 1.56. And of course, the final ones for February. I will be back next week to go ahead and take a look at the first set of March weekly challenges. A massive thank you to everybody listed on the screen now for your continued support. And a huge thank you to you guys watching at home. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.